Hey traders, it's Reed from Shift to Alpha. And if you've been journaling your trades for months and maybe even years, and you're still making the same execution mistakes, giving back your profits to the market, this video was made for you. In this video, we're going to go over exactly why your journaling isn't fixing your trading. And real quick before we even begin, if you're brand new to trading, or if you don't yet have a strategy that you're comfortable with or that reliably generates profits when it's used correctly, this isn't your video yet. This is a bit more of an advanced video for traders who already have an edge. This is where the funded trader who already does the work. You journal very well. You review that journal. You write down what went wrong, what went right. You may have a spreadsheet that you're tracking your emotional state for every single trade. You have a very detailed journal that you're able to gather data insights from to make better trading decisions. But yet you're still giving back profits that you've earned from the market. Still breaking your trading rules at some point during the session. Still watching the same exact patterns show up in your data week after week. The self-sabotage. And the diagnosis that we're going to go over for this video is that data fatigue occurs when a trader collects infinite metrics without a mechanism to convert reflection into real-time neural inhibition. If you don't know what that means, don't worry, we're going over that in this video. But you have a whole lot of data that doesn't mean a lot to you. And applying tactical psychology to a flawed strategy is like racing a car with no engine. So that's why it's so important. Make sure you have a strategy that you're comfortable with before we even continue with this video. So journaling isn't fixing your trading because journaling was never designed to fix the problem that you actually have. That's a hard pill to swallow. I 100% understand, and I know from seeing the reaction of so many different traders when they hear this. Journaling isn't fixing your trading because journaling was never designed to fix the problem you actually have. So if you've been told by every mentor, every course, every trading community that you might have joined that journaling is the answer, that journaling is key, that all the professionals journal to get better, just journaling more. Review your trades, be accurate to the data. Yes, that can help, but that's incomplete. I'm not saying journaling is useless. Not at all. We run traders through journaling as well. So it's definitely not useless. It has its own proper place. But in trading, journaling has been an all be all fix for a lot of the trading issues that traders have. And it's pretty rare for journaling to actually be that fix. The majority of funded traders that we've talked with, the journaling that they're doing is solving the wrong problem. And they're saying in the same pattern, in the same loop, in the same cycle, month after month after month, wondering why their trading isn't getting better, wondering why they're not able to pocket most of the money they make in the market. So let me paint this picture very clear. You blow your trading rules on a Tuesday. Maybe you oversized on a trade. Maybe you took a revenge trade. Maybe you held through your stop loss because it looked like the trade was just going to bounce back. That night, you journal it like any good professional trader would do. You write, you took a revenge trade after 2 losses. You need to be more patient. You won't do this again. Next Wednesday, the same thing happens. Almost identical setup. Almost identical emotional trigger. You journal it again. You oversized on a C- setup. You need to trust your rules. You're frustrated. The entries start to pile up. The patterns are obvious even to you. You can see what you keep doing. You have months of evidence and it changes nothing. And the core truth here is that reflection is a thinking system tool and execution breaks are survival system events. They don't share the same logic. So what this is essentially saying is when your execution breaks, when you don't follow your rule, that's not your thinking system. That's not the logical part of your brain saying, hey, let's not follow this strategy that we know works. No, it's a different part of your brain. It's the fear base, the fight or flight based part of your brain making these decisions. So trying to override that with logic that comes from a trading journal, it just doesn't work to solve that issue. And again, that's not to say that journaling doesn't work. It absolutely works. And we take traders through journaling, but it doesn't work to solve the issue that majority of traders try to solve it with. And just for a biological glance at what's happening here, habit circuits in the basal ganglia, they operate 200 milliseconds faster than the prefrontal cortex can process reflective awareness. In other words, it's happening faster than your conscious prefrontal cortex thinking system can even grasp. And that's important because that leads to a misdiagnosis most traders are operating under. They think the problem is awareness because journaling causes awareness. That if they just see the pattern clearly enough, if they just see the numbers in the data, that the behavior will change. But awareness after the fact doesn't interrupt a pattern that fires in real time. Think about what's actually happening during an execution break when you don't follow your strategy. You're in the session, you've taken a loss, or you're up big and the momentum is pulling you. But awareness after the fact doesn't interrupt a pattern that fires in real time. Because the statistical reality is around 85% of execution breaks that we've seen occur in a state of autonomic arousal, where rational memory retrieval is biochemically inhibited. It can't work. You're trading against your mind's natural wiring. The library mode, which is journaling, which is very useful for a lot of problems, versus the fire alarm mode, which is trading. It creates a total accessibility gap. In other words, you may have the ammunition that you need, but you're not able to use it when you need it. Because information from a calm state does not transfer to a high activation stress state. Awareness after the fact is absolutely useless for this pattern that fires in sub-seconds within a small window. So in simple terms, your habit system, it runs before your thinking system can even recall your journal entries. And even if you can recall it, when you're in the heat of trading, you may switch operating systems completely. You may not have your prefrontal cortex dominating your trading decisions. It may be the amygdala, the fear-based part of your mind, the fight or flight. So all of that great knowledge and insight and data is simply not being used. And you're going to go and create the same entries over and over and over again. Because think about what actually happens during a moment where you break a rule or you don't follow your strategy. You're in the session, you've taken a loss, or you're up big and the momentum is pulling you. Your survival system activates. Stress hormones flood your body, your thinking system, the one that reviews journals and makes logical plans, it gets pushed offline and your habit system takes over. Whatever pattern in that moment is wired in, whether it be revenge trading, oversizing, freezing, chasing, that's what runs. Whatever that offline system is. Because your thinking system, it gets pushed offline by stress hormones, leaving your survival system in total control. That's why the journaling and the great insights that you have, that's great, but that's your online system. But once you get knocked off and you go offline in your trading, which happens to so many traders every single session, it's almost natural to happen. Guess what happens? Whatever's hardwired is what's going to be revealed. It runs before you even think about it, before you remember what you even wrote last night, before you recall the promise you made to yourself in the journal. The journal entry was written by your thinking system when you were calm, rational, reflective, and logical. The execution break, when you get outside of your strategy, it's run by your survival brain. And the habit systems, when you were activated, pressured, and reactive, those are two completely different operating states. And information from one doesn't automatically transfer to the other. That's the gap that nobody talks about. Your journal is collecting data in one mode and hoping it changes behavior in a completely different mode. It's like studying for an exam in a quiet library and then taking the test in the middle of a fire alarm. It's just not going to work. So now that we know the issue, what do most traders do when journaling doesn't work? The knowledge is there, but the conditions make it inaccessible because the problem isn't born in the journal. It's born in the session, in the body, in the 2-second window between the trigger and the clicks that bring on trades that end up derailing the whole session. It's a critical window, which is that distance between you getting a trigger and you making a decision where your profit is lost. Journaling happens hours after that window closes. So what do most traders do when journaling doesn't even work? Because most good traders that are disciplined, they do journal. But most traders that are disciplined, from what we found, don't journal for the right reasons. They journal harder. They add more fields to their journal. They track more metrics. They review it more often. They buy a better journaling platform. They commit to being more honest with themselves, and none of it catches the problem in the moment it's born. The journal only sees the aftermath. You keep trying to fix a real time state shift with a post session reflection tool, and that will always fall short, not because you're doing it wrong, but because the tool wasn't designed for that job. And it goes into a performance risk. Data obsession without execution architecture, without an alpha plan behind it, is just productive procrastination. You're hiding behind the data. And while the data may sound amazing and it may sound helpful and it may sound like it's something that can transform your trading, understand again, that's a lot of knowledge that's being loaded to your online thinking system. But it has nothing to do with when you go offline. And if you go right now through your journal and you look at all of the trades that you shouldn't have taken or you made some type of execution error on, whether it was chasing an entry or revenge trading or moving your stop loss, whatever that thing may be, you're going to find that majority, if not all of those trades happened when your thinking system was simply offline. So as a result, if you keep trying to fix that with more data from your journaling, you're simply fixing that with the wrong problem, because that journaling data is not getting through to your offline system because it's not hardwired there. And that's why the fallacy of more data exists. And even more so on top of that, we found memories of emotional triggers, they decay by around 70% within just an hour of the event happening, making post-session journaling just more inaccurate and even harder to solve the problem that is actually meant to solve. So we understand what's going wrong. We understand the fallacy of more data. We understand why journaling just hasn't been helping because it's been trying to solve the wrong problem. So what do? What you actually need is a system that operates at the speed of the problem, not after it. Not more data, not more awareness, not a prettier spreadsheet. You need an execution architecture, one that can intercept, identify the markers, the body signals, the things that may be happening before the mental break happens, before the triggers arise. Override it. Hardwired protocols that physically prevent the habit system from taking over, going offline. And execute, maintaining the plan regardless the state that you may be in. This is what you need to be able to intercept, override, and execute regardless what's going on in the market, regardless how you feel. You need a system that operates at the speed of the problem, not a tool that describes the aftermath, at least to fix this issue. And if you've been watching the channel for a while, you know we call this the alpha trading plan that intercepts the pattern while it's happening, not after it's already costing you money. It's built around your existing strategy. It doesn't change what you trade. It changes what holds your execution in place when your brain is trying to override your plan. And here's the thing, the architecture is different for every trader because your triggers are different. The moment your state shifts, the specific pattern that fires, the emotional sequence that leads to the break, that's unique to you. And every trader is going to be different. And the key concept here is generic journal and review. It treats everyone the same. Execution architecture is a bespoke, specific, and unique solution for your own trading mind. And that's what you need. Of course, we at Shift to Alpha, we work one-on-one with traders to help them build the alpha trading plan specific to them. But whether you come work with us one-on-one and we help you build your own personal alpha trading plan, or you do it yourself, just understand you need to have the correct architecture that's surrounding your current edge / strategy that you already have that can make you more consistent in the market. So when you start talking about traditional journaling, a generic journal and review approach, it treats every trader's execution problem the same way, like it's all the same problems. But the real fix doesn't. But there's a concept that I want to go over that I can give you now that changes how journaling actually works. And this technical logic is going to help us as we dive into the last few slides of this, is once you see the trigger point, you can build architecture around it. Without it, you're just trading into the blind and waiting to lose more trades and more profits from your account. So here's a shift that you can start making today. Stop journaling what you did after the session. Start journaling what you felt during the session, specifically the moment right before you stepped outside of your trading strategy. You broke your rules. That's not saying I took a revenge trade. Instead, say, I felt my heart in my chest after the second loss. My next thought was, I need to get back in before the session ends so I can make up for profit. That's the data that matters because that's the data that tells you where the state shift actually starts. And once you can see the trigger point, you can build something around it. Without that, you're just documenting the wreckage. Now, of course, it's not the whole system, but it moves your journal from an autopsy report that doesn't really solve the problem you're looking for it to solve to a diagnostic tool that will finally get you on the right track. Start seeing the right problem and start identifying and creating your specific architecture around this. And that gap between knowing and doing, it's simply bridged by awareness in the live session. And that right there is truly the difference that most funded traders are missing. You don't have a journaling problem. Even though journaling might not have helped your trading throughout the years or months you've been doing it, journaling is not the problem. You've just been trying to use journaling to solve the wrong problem it was never meant to solve. You have a gap between what you know after the session and what runs in your behavior during the session. And no amount of post-trade reflection will close that gap on its own because the pattern fires faster than reflection. Your job isn't to journal harder, it's to build a system that operates where the break actually happens in the session, in the body, in real time. Whether you're a client of ours and we help you build it, or you take what you're learning from these videos and try to piece it together yourself, the process is still the same. It's creating something that is tailored to you around your self-sabotage patterns that fire, causing you to have these bad decisions in the market that you later journal about. Because the data was never the issue. What you do with the data and when you do it is everything. I hope you found value from this video, and I want you to know it doesn't matter where you are in your trading. It doesn't matter how long you've been journaling the right way or the wrong way or how far away you feel from your trading goals. I want you to know you're only one small shift to alpha. I'll see you in the next one.